Geordie Burke was getting anxious, Marty. He was getting anxious that there wasn't a show tonight, but the clocks have changed. The clocks have changed. Yeah.
Yep.
They have indeed. So this is our final night of having the excellent sponsorship of Scotch Irish whiskey. So we better give them a mention. I hope you had imbibed lots of it for St. Patrick's Day. I certainly imbibed lots of another brand, but we'll go there later on in the show because basically they were feeding me full of free drink. But Scotch Irish, there you go, sponsors the show. Make sure you check them out down at Garrison, and they're at the City Airport as well, actually. So,
no. So how'd you go on this week, Justin? Are you all right? Were you?
I was all right. I've had a very, 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 very busy week. Actually hit my head in the boat from not the boat from Rathlin. It was actually in the toilets in Rathlin Island. I hit my head, and I didn't even have a drink in me, but I did hurt my hand in a hotel in Dublin, but it's just staved a wee bit. But we'll explain more of that later.
I have whiskey bump here with me tonight because it seems to be that I'm collecting this stuff. There's more and more whiskey bump appearing in my house. That I got my tasting box. Remember we were talking to Philippe Schreiber?
Yes.
From the Dram team.
Fantastic, Marty. Hold on. I'll put you on screen on your own. Yeah.
So this is remember the tasting that's happening to raise money for Ukrainian refugees. So that pack came. Other bump. I got a little Titanic Distillers.
Right.
This is the Titanic Distillery, the new one up in Thompson's Dry Dock up in Belfast. So
yes,
I tried that. Nice, pleasant, drinkable little whiskey.
Yes.
You may notice my little hat. Whiskey Chats.
You were on, yes, last night. You had
there was a tasting last night. Laurie O'Dwyer, if you don't know Whiskey Chats, Laurie O'Dwyer interviewed yours truly way back when. Really just a nice guy, and it was nice because he was out because he was down south and he was moving about going to some of the distilleries. He picked up some little samples and sent them out for his 2nd anniversary, and now these were empty because we drunk them all last night. First off, because there's still a little bit in it, so you're still getting a nose at these things. That's Renegade Rum. This is Mark Rainier's project out in Guyana.
Right.
There is one hell of a funky nose off that. That is just weird. Is
that like McKibben's rum even better, or what is it?
It's better than McKibben's rum, Justin. It'll be better than McKibben's rum.
Okay.
Really funky nose on it. Brendan down at Cologne's new offering coming out soon.
Well, you didn't happen to see the house down at Cologne for sale. It's Northern Ireland's most expensive house, 2.3 million.
No.
Looks nice on the outside, but not much on the inside.
Now that's not actually whiskey. It's not going to be whiskey. It's a strange release. There'll be 2 of them. That would blow the head off a donkey. That's an absolute killer of a thing.
Okay.
And then our good friend Maurice O'Connell.
Lakeview. We've been lucky enough to try that.
Honestly, that's just a 3-year-old. It's now a whiskey. It's 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And mark my words. I'm going to make you a prediction right now. Lakeview, going forward, will be one of the premier brands of Irish whiskey. If that's the kind of stuff that they're producing, that's excellent. I mean, really, really, really nice. So it's nice to get caught up with that.
Now, of course, because St. Patrick's Day was in the middle of the week and we were down in Dublin, I missed you. William. William was doing a gig in a bar in Carrick, and I missed him. And apparently he's doing a tour of Scandinavia. So I missed our friend William there, and we must talk. We must put the show out about him doing the coffee. But tonight we're doing the Scotch World, which was one we recorded in the can, but we're putting it out because we're getting too far behind. We've got that much good stuff coming up and that much McCann. We better get some stuff out.
We have to. We interviewed Dirk a few weeks ago, and Dirk's there, good guy.
Tony Sillett saying hello. Thomas Jones is saying hello as well. Even though hoping everyone had a good St. Patrick's Day. I had an exceptional one, but we'll get more of that later. Tony Sillett, seen you on the floor, credit card in the floor. Has he seen that already?
I'm sure you posted them up.
Has he seen that already?
Oh, by the way, I was a little bit distracted there because I was watching Hapthor Bjornsson and Eddie Hall fighting, and this is actually a bottle of vodka signed by Hapthor Bjornsson, the Mountain from Game of Thrones, one of the largest human beings I've ever met.
Right,
enormous guy, nice guy, really nice guy, pleasant. Anyway, going ahead.
Julie Mace is saying hello as well. A couple of ladies in tonight. Linda Cox as well. Hello to you. Yes, William, I missed you on St. Patrick's Night. I'm sorry about that. I was the worst for wear at that point. Lots of the worst for wear. I really did miss you. Actually, I did. I wanted to go, but I forgot all about it. Texas Spoon Tapper saying hello, and the old cousin Sean McClanton saying hello. John Redmond is saying hello, and Connor Winders is saying, oh, there's a name. We haven't seen Connor on in a couple of years, actually. But we actually, believe it or not, Marty, we actually got a couple more envelopes in. Do you have any left of that black bottle, do you?
Oh, yes, with some black bottles.
Good.
We'll get them sent out.
Good, because a couple more.
Not very many more. That's it. But no more.
We're going to have to say that's it because they come in dribs and drabs, and it's very hard to keep up with them because, But
that's 96
guys
bottles.
in Galway, there's a couple of bottles coming to you. I'm actually down south in Cork at the West Cork podcast live, so I will drop them in the post down there, and that is that before we go to Scotland or after we go to Scotland? I think it's before.
I don't know.
I think it's before. So they'll be posted to you before the end of the month. So not that long away because we're on the 19th today. So that's it. That's a couple of guys down in Galway, not Limerick. Right. Stanley Song saying hello. Nice, Stanley saying hello. Yes. And Tony said, was the fall stage or was you destroyed?
All will be revealed about that.
I know.
It was dead funny.
Yes.
It was dead funny.
Jordy, St. Patrick's Day was in the middle of the week, and we were in Dublin on the eve of St. Patrick's Day, which was pretty heavy stuff. The videos were already up there. I couldn't put all the videos up there because it was that bad. I couldn't even video correctly, and that is not like me. I was that bad. I couldn't video at all. That's how bad it was. But anyway, so
the news, Justin. We'll do the news.
Yes, we'll do the news. Here we go. Oh, will it fire? It will fire. So, you already know. To comment, to like, and share. Always watching the main Facebook and YouTube stream. We're on LinkedIn and we're on Twitch as well. And I try to put a repeat out on Instagram if I can. But they're down to short videos now again, so it's very difficult for me to do that in full.
Okay, now the day before St. Patrick's Day, we got a run out. Hey, now that COVID, the plague and pestilence has sort of cleared off. There's only about 1,000 people a day dying in the Western world. So, but we got a run out and we went down to Grace O'Malley product launch. Now, this is more sort of bump. So we went down to Dublin on St. Paddy's Day, and I just remember we put the pictures in order, which you obviously haven't bothered to put in order.
We did. I just like that. I just like that picture. I just like that picture. Hold on. There we go.
Hello.
Yep.
Right. So we're down to Patrick's Day. Right. We're going to show the pictures here. Are we going to show pictures, Justin? In the order in which we discussed.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
There we go. Right. So, moving on. Now, I had that pint of Guinness earlier on in the week. Look at that there. That is just That's just perfect. Anyone who wants to know what a pint of Guinness should look like, that's what a pint of Guinness should look like. I had it down Stevie's down here the other night. It was just awesome. Absolutely.
I thought
awesome.
we were going to roll out the green one again there. I tried to find it, but I couldn't. The worst Guinness ever. That was obviously Coca-Cola float or something like that. Yes, I must admit, the head on that looks incredible. It looks unbelievably creamy, and it looks fantastic.
It was. It just looks absolutely. It was just perfect. It was absolutely perfect. Now, so by the way, anyone watching in the States, could you please tell your president that not all Irish people are thick? He said, "I know I'm Irish, but I'm not stupid." No, Joe. Neither am I. What a stupid thing he said. Yeah, unbelievable. So we went down to the product launch.
Yeah, but I can tell you the secret. That doesn't offend me because I don't identify as Irish.
It doesn't offend me either because I just think it's funny. Now, so it was a product launch. When we got down, it wasn't really 100% sure what we were supposed to be doing. And it took a very long time for us to figure out that they were actually painting outside on the street this mural, which Justin obviously showed totally out of sequence. But,
yes.
And it was being painted live, and no one actually knew.
Yeah, they didn't say to look out the window. It's out the back of the pub. We eventually worked it out because there was a video running, and we thought it was a video running in the background of a painting being done somewhere else in Dublin, but it was actually out the back of the Lucky Duck in Unger Street in Dublin, which is south of the river. And it did look fantastic. It looked like the murals that you sort of see. Where's he going? It looked like the murals you see in the Cathedral Quarter in Belfast, Marty, didn't it? It looked like the Cathedral Quarter murals, didn't it?
Yeah, it was nice. It was really nice. It was well done. And there was a nice wee thing to get, actually.
The artwork's nice.
Now, this is their blend that they have. They give us a bottle of that whenever we were down. And there's going to be a new release. They're going to bring out 500 bottles of 12-year-old Amarone cask finished whiskies. Now, it's a bit strange because each artwork's going to be slightly different. And it's going to be released with an NFT. I don't know what that means. I think you get a bit of digital code or something.
But they said there was a bottle of whiskey as well, so there was an actual physical bottle of whiskey.
So it's going to be released with an NFT. So you get a bit of digital art, I think. I think that's what it is. So it was quite nice. Now, there was free alcohol there. And Justin availed himself of quite a lot of the free alcohol. In that, Justin ended up rubbered. And he fell down. He was walking up the corridor and fell on his arse. Now, I did, like all good friends do. I obviously laughed my arse off and took photographs of him lying on the ground. So, yes, this is not staged. He was walking along, bumped into the door frame, and down he went.
Although Marty did trip in the trip stack every time I stepped out of the room, but anyway, that's another story.
That was even whenever I was sober, but it was dead funny. See, Justin was living the high life. Justin was drinking champagne and everything. The only thing was Justin wasn't paying for drinking champagne because the free drink had ended. Justin didn't realise this.
I hadn't realised the free drink was ended. I was drinking the free drink in another bar, but anyway,
and they had a bottle of champagne behind the bar, to which Justin kept helping himself, and nobody said nothing.
Sorry, I'm not used to the champagne and caviar being on tap that I just eat it anyway.
Yeah, so, anyway, it was dead funny. So that mural is up. What's the name of the street it's on?
Unger Street.
Unger Street. Is it
Unger Street?
During the week, like Justin also took a video which appeared on Irish Whiskey Review of a guy called Hugh Cooney, and he's a professional storyteller. I once heard a girl who is a storyteller over in Edinburgh. She says when the nuclear bombs go off, the first person that people will eat will be the storytellers. The doctors and all that will be kept. They'll just go for those. And the guy.
That's funny. That's funny.
Aye.
That's funny.
This guy, he was wandering about round the wee stick and all, and he was doing all that, that like professional storytelling, where it was. All,
I actually thought he was in his Jimmy Jams, but he was actually.
I thought he was a looper when I've seen it. I thought they'd been let out for a trial run sort of thing, and but he was donnering about round. It was all in the wee small hours. Oh, the thing. He was running about. He was recording it. Pissed as a fart, he was. It's just, it was mad. But no, so look out for that. That'll be probably a fairly collectible. We got a little sample. The whiskey was okay. The one they do a collectible. Amarone cast. I'm not sure what way to take it. It's all right. It was okay. But yeah, so that was what we were at during the week. We were probably the only people desperately trying to get out of Dublin on St. Patrick's Day. There was lots of ginger wags and stuff floating about, and anyone who knows pretty much Ireland, everybody in Ireland gets drunk the day before St. Paddy's Day, and then what we do is we just sort of lie about in bed, normally dying. But yeah, it was good crack. It was good fun.
It was funny. And I did hurt my thumb when I fell. I wasn't in a fight in Dublin or anything. We had an absolute fantastic time down there. The guys nice. at Burrell PR were fantastic. Everybody was fantastic. I was maybe not fantastic because I was actually off my skull, off my trolley. It's absolute madness. I literally was continued to drink the free drink in a different bar, but anyway, madness.
But I never bothered to tell him. I thought when he's getting away with it, let him tear on.
I know.
It was definitely funny. It was funny. It was. Just going to have a wee drop of red silky. I haven't had this for a long time, actually. So
we've got English only silky ordered, haven't we?
Oh, we have. It's coming now. Next story. Tullamore Dew have opened up their visitors distillery experience. Their new one came on online this week, and their old distillery tour was there was. I thought it was disjointed the last time I did it. There was a little secret tasting room experience thing, which I thought was actually a lot better than the distillery tour. This one, it's €35 if you just go and pay there, but you get 10% discount if you book it online. So $31.50. The guided tour is 105 minutes. Do you bring up the website, Justin?
I can indeed. I'm just having technical difficulties tonight. You might have noticed that we had technical difficulties last week, and that was because of we don't know what it was because, but I'm assuming there was a denial of service attack against Be Live because they had to actually reset everything on me, including all the stuff I'd stored and all the settings I've done over the past 2 years. So I don't know what that was about.
In case you're wondering what it is he's referring to, last Sunday we had planned to come on for a quick bit and to show Felipe Schreiberg like a full interview. We would come on sort of top and tail with chat. The problem was it just wouldn't let us on. It was very strange the way it happened. It was very strange, and the fact that everything had to be totally reset. Nothing like that ever happened before. I think you had issues as well with something else, didn't you? It was just, and to be honest, it just seemed very strange that the one time you're trying to do something about Ukraine that's specifically about Ukraine, that sort of weird things happen. Don't know. Maybe
I've had issues before, but they had to do an absolute master reset, and I lost everything. So hence St. Paddy's Day and not our normal background tonight because I have to find it again. So there you go.
Yeah. Anyway,
so that's it. So Tullamore Dew, yes.
Tullamore Dew, yes.
The move from the wee place to the big place, and they did away with the wee place, something like that. We did it before, yeah.
Yeah, they had the place down by the river, and this is going to be the distillery experience. So you actually go into the still house. When you get there, according to the website, when you get there, you get an Irish coffee. Tullamore Dew was the original whiskey used for the very first Irish coffees. So you get 3 tastings, and then it says on it you dip the dog. Now they posted this picture on their social media.
Dip the dog? Oh, you can't do that to a dog.
No.
No.
But that's not actually. It's not actually what it's referring to. What it's referring to is you get a copper dipper, a dog dipper. It's called. I mean, I have a photo of one. So you don't actually get to dip a poodle. So that's what you dip into a cask, and you get tasting directly from the cask. So yeah, so it's nice to see them opening up for the visitor centres.
Oh, I've seen this. This is where they dip it in. So you get to dip that in and you get to taste it. I was just noticing the price of that. That seems very reasonable for that. 3 whiskies, €31.50. Walk-in price €35. So that's under £30. So that is a pretty good deal for a tour of a high-end distillery, isn't it?
But you get, it says on the website. Obviously, I haven't done the tour because it only opened this week. You get an Irish coffee, 3 whiskey samples, and then dip the dog. So I think that's possibly 5 drinks, which would be exceptionally good value.
Yeah. Compared to some places. Places. So, what's next tonight then?
Well, we have Shackleton, Ernest Shackleton, who was born down in County Kildare, for anyone who doesn't know. They've discovered the Endurance, which was his very famous ship. Now,
it looks incredibly well preserved here, Marty. Yeah. Incredibly well preserved. We'll bring that up full screen. So if you haven't seen it, look at that there. You can actually allegedly read the name there, Endurance, or its old name underneath there. But it's the ice cold waters preserved it.
Yeah. Well, there's a Shackleton whiskey has been out. It's White and Mackay. It's blended by sort of legendary Richard Patterson. What they've done is they have hidden 15 bottles of whiskey, physically hidden it. So it's like that geocaching type thing. Places that are off grid. Now, if you go onto Shackleton Whiskey's website, it's all live outside, all this sort of stuff, off grid. Now, they've had 15 bottles of it. And to claim a bottle, it says you have to go to one of the questions, quote Endurance to a team member, and then that means you get a bottle of whiskey. Now, they're all over sort of the Great Britain and the islands, Hebrides and all that kind of stuff. But one of them I happened to check was in just outside Campbelltown. And if you click on where it is, you can basically see it from my house. It's down the Mull of Kintyre. I'm going to let you in a secret. There'll not be anybody there for you to talk to. That's kind of the point of being off-grid. So I'm not exactly sure who it is you would be speaking to down that part of the world. But yeah. So
that actually looks like where Paul McCartney used to live. But he lived around the other side, I do believe. Oh. But that is pretty remote. I mean, who would you ask there? Would you go up to a seal and go, or something like that? Would you?
Yeah, possibly. You never know. The reason Shackleton and whiskey sort of associate it, Shackleton, in one of his adventures to, as it says, bolster morale, took 25 cases of Highland malt with him. And when he lost the boat, they lost whiskey, obviously. And a few years ago, they found 3 cases of it. So Richard Patterson has blended up this Shackleton whiskey, and you can have it. It's got an extremely heavy bottle. Excuse me. The bottle weighs about 2 kilos. Honest to God, it's a monster of a bottle. It's tasty enough. It's okay.
Mark Kerr says he does love it, like the Shackleton brand. It looks pretty impressive. I've seen this at the airport recently. I was nearly tempted to buy it. I'm glad I didn't now.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it's okay.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. So
now there's an advert. I meant to put this out a couple of weeks ago. For anyone who doesn't know, Brian Nation is the former head distiller of Middleton. So responsible for Jameson and all that kind of stuff. And what he did was he disappeared. He went over to the States to the O'Shaughnessy distillery. And they're producing a whiskey called Keeper's Heart. And they made an advert, which they released a couple of weeks ago, and it's kind of funny. So Justin's going to play it now, I hope.
I hope you fall off the boat, Brian.
there you go.
No, that's just the start of it. That's not the whole advert, Justin.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's not. If you put it like this, folks, if you go to the Keeper's Heart and go to the advert, you'll see it.
Bit of a check. Hold on. Nope, that's definitely the whole advert.
Okay, it's not, but it's definitely not.
No, honestly, it's only 15 seconds long. It is there. There's the link to it. Watch it, folks. If it's longer on your computer, maybe it is, but it's only 15 seconds long. Honestly, it is.
Honestly, it's not. Hang on.
There's William Maher, 25 cases. That would bolster Merlar, but they were all spoiled. The cases, actually, William, those Shackleton cases. William McClanahan's saying he's not sure about the Shackleton either. Don't know. The bottle looks impressive. James Murray Doherty is saying it's not.
There's a longer one.
The advert?
We'll come back to that. We'll get back to that in a wee minute.
Yeah. There's a longer one with lots of angry people. There you go. Maybe there is.
There definitely is. Now,
we're being told to behave.
Now, there's another thing. I have to comment on this. It was Dublin Live, the sort of the online news page, and lots of people over the last while have done staycations, holiday and at home kind of thing. And there's a girl, what was her name? Siobhan O'Connor was out and about in Dublin. Now, if you bring up the page, Justin.
I can't, just about there. Solo. Yep.
Right. If you scroll down a little bit, scroll down to the bit where she's in Teeling Distillery. Now, I've done the Teeling Distillery a few times.
All right. There she is in the distillery. Yeah. There she is. Yeah. That's her.
Right. Now, what she says in it, she quotes some facts. Now, you and I are both tourist guides, but we've all seen sort of rubbish tours before, and all the sort of cliched. Oh, we aged whiskey for 3 years and 1 day, and all that bollocks, right? Well, what she said was, I didn't know that 60% of the world's whiskey is made in Ireland. It's hard to believe there's 152 different styles. And it's the fastest growing spirit in the world.
Where'd you get that information from?
Well, I've heard some crap whiskey stuff. I once heard that if you back in the day, people, if they bought a cask of whiskey, the first third of it killed everybody, and the second third made everybody blind, but the last third was all right. That was in a museum of whiskey. A load of balls. I keep hearing, obviously, you hear it's aged for 3 years and 1 day, and all that crap. But I've never heard somebody saying 60% of all whiskey's made in Ireland. I don't know. It baffles me. I don't even know how you would even fathom about coming up with that figure. And I'd love to know what the 150 odd styles are, because that would be a good job. So she didn't
is there
learn
not
this.
just two styles, peated and unpeated?
No. There's lots and lots of different styles, but I don't know. But you've got pot still whiskey, triple distill, double distill, peated, unpeated. I don't know. I don't even know what she's referring to in that. But I know she definitely didn't. She definitely didn't hear it in the Teeling Whiskey Distillery, and yeah, it's just this very, very strange thing to be coming out with. Now, Teeling Whiskey Distillery, there's a competition last night. It finishes tomorrow. Irish malts. They're giving away a trip to the Teeling Distillery, which, trust me, is really nice tour. Really nice tour, and tasting as well.
Yep, full details are on screen. So that trip. James Moore Doherty saying 60% of all stories.
Yeah, of all the stories about whiskey might come from here. By the way, James, I'm on the Red Silky tonight. Lovely little drop it is too.
Yeah, hold on to put that screen up of the competition, because this is worthwhile doing if you can get on to Irish Malts, which is there, and do this competition, because I'm going to do it now myself. There you go. So there it is there. That's it. That's the link you need to go to in the feed below there, and you can click. That's it. That's nice. You've done this a couple of times, Marty, haven't you? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've done it.
Yeah.
I actually did it with Dr. John Teeling there a couple of years ago. He was escorting a group that I had taken down around, which was it totally made the whole thing, because for my money, Dr. John Teeling doesn't receive as much praise for what he has done for Irish whiskey as he really deserves, and he has a very healthy hand in rescuing the entire industry, and I don't think he's ever really got the credit for that.
There's Texas Spoon Samper saying in 3 years and 1 day, 60% of whiskey will be made in China.
About probably 60% of it is made in India already. So there's, I mean, it's. I mean, I the way we keep hearing all that stuff about Ireland's going to overtake Scotland in terms of whiskey production. I was talking to a couple of guys down at the thing, and with the best will in the world, it's not going to. I mean, you put up an article the other day on that thing. Lots of stuff appears in this Facebook page, guys, that Muggins puts up. It's nothing to do with me. I haven't even read the articles, and it was going on.
Neither have I, because I haven't got time to read them all.
It's from 4 distilleries to 40. From Forbes magazine, and somebody said, "Sure, it's full of inaccuracies." Sure, even the title's inaccurate. But from four distilleries to 40.
They do it as clickbait. Either that, or they don't know, or they don't care. So anyway,
we'll put like
errors and admissions accepted. What was the saying? Mark Kerr's just saying he's about to pour a midnight silky. Yes. Linda Cox is saying we wish we could get silky in Canada. Yeah. And then John Redmond is saying he reads them all cover to cover. John, thank you for liking our content. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
I read them all cover to cover. I usually just look at the pictures myself, but there you go.
All you need is either a picture of food or a pretty girl, and Justin's hooked. Or if there's free champagne behind the bar, which is not actually technically not free. I've got a wee candle going tonight, Justin. Look.
I hate candles. Hate them.
This is to
hate to smell a drink when people come into the house. No?
Something like that, yeah. A whiskey candle.
So Sean McCann is saying yes, he'd like the silky in Canada. Now, if you want to go back to that, we have the full video. We've found the correct link to the full video. If you want to see the Keeper's Heart video, and we can do it in full. Do you want to do it? Yeah.
Oh, I play it now.
That guy is
Call me fool!
yourself, Brian.
Go yourself, Brian.
I hope you fall down a well, Brian. Don't you come back unless you want to.
I hope you fall off the boat, Brian.
Brian, you're up. You, Brian!
Good riddance, son. Waster.
To hell with you, Brian!
So if only they were as nice to him as they're nice to everybody in the whiskey industry. Yes.
I just I find it funny. I find that kind of thing funny. Just that, even President Biden's might be Irish, but I'm not stupid. Brilliant.
Like,
Oh, nice.
James Doherty saying that Silky should be listed across the states now, and he said should be listed across the provinces now as well. So there you go. That's good. Yeah, that's good. So let us know if you get your hands on it. Sean McLennan is saying, "What a great commercial." Yes, I tend to agree with you because we play a lot of commercials on here, and not only the cliched in many cases, but they're actually crap and they should never be put to air. But anyway,
there's loads of them, but no,
it takes a lot to make a good commercial nowadays because people have seen the best of them. I mean, like, let's face it, I used to drink Susano because Joan Collins threw it over Leonard Rossiter on a plane. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it was a good advert, Marty.
Oh, brilliant! Do you remember our friends from River Rock? Remember the guys with the single malt that we sent out? Sure, they had a complaint about they had an advert running where it was like
mountaineering. And this is mountaineers don't drink alcohol in case it's dangerous. And I thought,
like one complaint and had to take it off. I mean, it's just ridiculous, absolutely pathetic. That River Rock, by the way, that's a very nice, very clean whiskey. Well worth getting if you ever get a chance.
It is. Here's a good question. This is getting like radio. Mark Kerr saying, "What is your favorite drink-related advert?" Marty, mine would have to be that Cinzano one.
Oh no, mine's easily the Macallan one that nobody had a clue what it was about. It was just utterly bizarre. Just have a search for this. It's Macallan where it's all flying about in like Icarus or something. It's just nuts. I'm sure James Doherty will know exactly the one I mean. Hang on.
I think I know the one you mean as well, but hold on to see if we can find it.
Alan Icarus advert.
It
was it. Hang on. Do we see? It was easily my favourite one because it's just utterly bonkers.
Hold on, I found it. Hold on. Will I be able to do it? Just checking it's the right one in case I play something inappropriate. This is the link. And we'll fire that in like this here. And we will see what this looks like. Here we go. Should be able to play it.
Stick it up.
Okay. That's like Sheep's Mountain in Obersalzberg, is it? It's fallen. It could be a Red Bull advert, this.
Aye.
He's growing a set of wings, is he? Oh, right. That was handy. All right. Right. And he's J curving like James Bond. And there he's gone.
There we go.
Yeah, and he's flying. What's that all about? No idea. Isn't that crazy? Is this what you felt like in Dublin? No. I felt like a wow burger, and it was delicious. Yeah, I felt like a wow burger. It was absolutely delicious. A bit spicy, but delicious. But didn't repeat on me, so it was pretty good.
Brilliant. If that's your mark of quality food. Oh, it was lovely. It didn't repeat on me.
Tullymore Dew, the parting glass is the
Williams.
It's Williams' favourite one.
Look, guys, I love that advert. By the way, we'll just go into that McCallum one just quickly because you can't advertise that you go hill climbing and take a wee halfing with you and set up a mountain. That's okay. But apparently, if you drink Macallan, you can jump off a cliff because you'll grow wings. What are you going about? Absolutely bonkers. Absolutely mad. I just poured myself.
We might do a 5-hour show tonight if Vodafone don't cut you off.
Oh, don't even start. Oh, but no.
Frank is hearing must have seen A Sheltered Life. I've never seen that advert. Frank, you must have seen A Sheltered Life because we've shown it on the show before. Didn't we show that one on the show before that?
I'm not sure we showed that one, but it's probably my favourite because it's just like you watch it and you're going, what the fuck is that all about?
No, I know.
Yeah.
Madness. So there you go. We'll give the sponsors a mention again, actually, here tonight because they've been very nice to us. There you go. Give them a mention. Scotch Irish, sponsors of Irish Whiskey Review the past few weeks. Thanks very much for that. Guys down there in Garrison, lovely part of the world, lovely lake down there. And thank you very much for that, indeed.
Very nice. Must catch up with them very shortly to see where they are with the building of that because it can't be too far away from being built. We'll have to get a catch up with Connell and the guys.
Makes a change to see you upright, Justin. I take St. Paddy's Day was good. It was exceptional. It was exceptional.
No. Proper Irish person's St. Paddy's Day is actually the day before because everybody knows they're off work the next day. So your St. Paddy's Day wasn't great, Justin. Let's be honest, because you were absolutely dying. I was as fresh as a coat of paint, folks. By the way, because I sort of kept it. Please drink responsibly. Don't be drinking. I
think I was drinking other people's drinks as well, but that's another story. Shane Riley is saying water in Mallorca. Yes, the water in Mallorca. It's the one with it's elocution lessons. The water in Mallorca. You know that one?
Yes.
Can't remember what it's for.
That was good.
Can't remember what it's for. Yeah. And Sean McClellan is saying it's. Sean McClellan says if it's a 5-hour show, I'm going to end up like looking like Justin in that hallway.
But look, guys, if you'd have seen Justin, if you'd have seen him trying to drink that champagne, it was one of the funniest things ever. He was just sitting like this at the bar, and there was this bottle of champagne. just reached over, pulled it out, opened it, poured it in his glass, and then set it back again. And I was like, that's not free. What do you mean? This is all right. Then he sort of giggled, and I hadn't a baldy what was going on. They're funny. They're
I know. Lorraine Chase for Campari is James and Moira Doherty's advert. This is going to. We did a show on adverts once about a couple of years ago. Maybe do another one on your favorite advert. But listen, we'll better do this, guy. He's already gone out in the podcast. But remember to comment, like, and share on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitch and Instagram. And we spoke to Dirk Ebner from the Scotch World. And have a listen to this.
So have a listen.
Now, Dirk, I thought Germans were extremely sensible people. Who starts a business in the middle of a global pandemic? You have Scotch World, March 2020, and you're going from strength to strength. How did you do it? Why did you do it?
Well, really what happened, Justin, is that I've been in the trade show business since 1995, and I've worked, all around the world. And I was grounded because of COVID. We couldn't go anywhere. Trade shows left, right, were canceled, and everything came to a halt. And so literally sat in my basement and had a drum and was drinking a scotch to sort of feel sorry for myself. And thought, let me tell my folks, my families, and my friends around the world about my passion for the Scotch. And so I started Googling and looking around, and I looked on one of the domain finders, and the scotchworld.com became available. I don't know why it was available, but it was. So I grabbed it and started building this one-page free website. And soon enough found out that there was much more to than what I wanted to share with everybody. And I started doing this, and it took off. It's literally, completely, not, we're about 2 years out now with the website, and it's going everywhere. I mean, people from 41 countries, I think the count yesterday was 369 cities on 5 continents. People are flocking to this website and enjoy it.
Wow.
And we're having really good results overall on this website. And so that's how this whole thing started.
Excellent.
I always promised myself I would write a book in lockdown, but we started this blog in lockdown with about 2 hours notice I give Marty. Yes, I mean, it's great that so many people around the world share a passion for all things Scotch, whiskey, and bourbon. Yeah, absolutely. And the wonderful thing about it is that the entire industry and community is so engaged with everybody. You can ask anybody any question anytime, and they're involved and they want to share their knowledge. They are not afraid to ask questions. They are willing to tell everybody everything. And that's the great thing about it, is that you can easily connect. And I've always believed in, food and beverage is the connector. It really is. No matter where you are, if you're in the States, in Ireland, in Scotland, in England, wherever you are, in Germany, you will always find a conversation over a hot dog or a bratwurst or a shepherd's pie or whatever you want, right? And you add a drink to it, and you're in heaven, right? That's what it is.
I couldn't agree more. And whenever you open a bottle of whiskey, if you have whiskey drinkers there, everybody gets that little bit excited. It doesn't really matter what the whiskey is. People just, if they haven't tried it before, it's even better, and you get a real conversation out of it.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why people are interested in the Scotch world, right? Because it's really me, Dirk, talking about what I feel and what my passion is. And I've really connected with so many people that I have learned a lot about it, and I want to share that. Yeah. So, it's just important that when you're at the bottle shop and you run into somebody that is asking you a question, or you see the person standing in front of the shelf, they look at this like, wow, which one should I take, right? You just take the minute and help them. And I think that's why we are, as a community, as the world, so thankful for everybody helping each other out.
Yeah. And the whiskey world, it's a massive industry, but it's really quite small. It's not that hard to get talking to the people who have years and years and decades of experience, and find out. And as you say, they are normally very amenable, very easy. There's no real trade secrets in whiskey. People want to tell you how they do stuff because it adds to the sort of the etymology, the birth of the product.
Yeah, Marty, the other thing which I feel is very important is that when you are looking for information about the industry, that you look not just at the bottle or at the package or, if it's a 12 or 15 or 18 year, it's the history behind it. And that's what fascinates me a lot too, is when you share your information, share a little bit about the history of the region, about the area, about the town, how this is all evolving. Where do you get your water from, and you learn so much. And every time you learn that, when I write my blogs, that's what I like to do. I always like to open up with a little bit of a history about the distillery, about the region, put links out to where people can find more information, because at the end of the day, it's all about history. It goes back to, centuries and centuries back, and you want to learn that because that's part of the experience with it.
Yeah. To me, whiskey connects with you in a different way than any other spirit, because it is, product design is, to me, a key thing too. It's nice to be able to look at it and that sense of place and history and how it came to be. And even guys starting off, you're living in the States now, and there's this explosion of whiskey distilleries in the States, and they're all trying to get that little bit of history and that little piece for themselves. Scotch obviously has a marathon in front of them, or, a marathon behind them. The other guys have a marathon in front of them, I should say. So, is it Scotch primarily is what you drink?
Yes. Well, let me rephrase that. I think what I've learned is that you get a better feedback in a conversation when you are when you have a knowledge of a lot of different spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And I've traveled so much over the years that I've been to 20 plus, countries where I have worked in one capacity or the other. And, so I've always experienced and loved to experience a Sambuca or a Raki or an Ouzo or whatever it is that you find in the countries. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the spirit all comes from the same thing. It's not that, that it's different. It's a lot of different ingredients, of course, but there's still a lot of things that they have in common. And I think that you need to know that, you need to understand the mezcals and the tequilas, and you need to understand the schnapses, the rum, the Strohrum from Austria. You need to understand all this. And I think that's part of it, because then you can appreciate your main drink much more.
Now, you mentioned there snaps, and peach snaps used to be all the rage here many years ago. Peach, the Canadian stuff. I mean, what do you make of that? Is that a whiskey drink, or is it a cocktail? I love cocktails, you see, Dirk. Marty's not so keen.
I think that a cocktail, there's a lot of really cool devices that have come out over the years where you are buying little bitty capsules and you put them in and you put your liquor in and you push the button and the perfect drink comes out, because you take your bartender home, right? And you have it sitting in the kitchen. Can be a little bit dangerous at times, but I think that the spirits industry is expanding so much, and I think that everybody has, from my point of view, should have their own liquor to go to, their own spirits to go to, because at the end of the day, that creates conversation. Would I drink some of those spirits? I would definitely always use it at least, or have a drink at least once or twice,
Exactly.
If you want to do that. But would I make it my to-go? No, probably not, unless it's really, really good.
You mentioned peaches, Justin. You mentioned the Crown Royal peach, which is just huge thing. But you're in Georgia, which is not only peach country; it's also moonshine country.
There is actually there's a lot of moonshine happening in the north, northern part of the Georgia mountains.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of moonshining. There's TV shows, as you probably have seen, Marty, the Moonshiner. And a lot of people are seeing this, and I think there is a lot of knowledge about this. And at the end of the day, you put the moonshine in the barrel, and that's it for a couple of months or a couple of years, and you won't be surprised what comes out of it. Actually, I've done this. I got me some moonshine the other day from Nashville on a business trip, and I put it in. I've had a little bit of a zip of it, and I really got a passion to this whole thing, because moonshine can be very interesting and very attractive to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yes,
right.
I love that show where those hillbillies, which more or less originate from this part of the world, sort of fake it that the ATF is after them or whatever.
Sometimes the ATF is after them, Justin.
I think the ATF. Yeah, it might be, but it's a bit obvious if you have a camera crew following you around. They're bound to notice. But you're a great fan of moonshine, Marty, aren't you? You've got the latest book on it, haven't you?
I'm a fan of moonshine because it's pretty much poaching that's just moved across to the States, and it's funny because it was the Scots-Irish went over and met the Germans in sort of Maryland and down into the Appalachian Mountains, and that was really how moonshine came about. It was this sort of knowledge of distilling coupled up with German brewing skills that really led to the whole American whiskey scene. So it's interesting that there is these connections, and they all sort of trace back to Scotland again. That's Scotland sort of at the heart of it, and Ulster and Germany, and all of these connections are all part of the history of the whole spirits industry. Now, it's the Scotch world is the the page and the site that you have.
Mm-hmm.
What's the main focus of it? What is the purpose of the page, and where do you see it going, or what do you want to do with it?
The purpose really is to educate the enthusiast like myself. When I go somewhere and I learn about the spirits, learn about the Scotch, and learn about various spirits, it's really out there to educate people and use it as a platform. And I'll talk about it in a minute, what else I'm bringing in. But it's really there for someone who wants to go. I've started a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, but about 18 months ago, what I call a pick of the month, where I literally go to probably about 16 or 18 different bottle shops in various areas and just go over the shelf and look what they have interesting. And my opinion really is that I want to introduce a distillery and a brand that is affordable for a lot of people. Because the average person is not going to spend, $200 on a bottle. Actually, I had a survey just out before in preparation for this to sort of share that a little bit. But I asked one question, what is the average bottle price that you're willing to invest? And the majority was saying between $30 and $40. So that's the sweet spot for a lot of people. And I had the survey going out to about 100 people. So I wanted to get some feel about what people feel about their investment in a bottle. And so that's what I think is really the purpose of it, is the enthusiast side. The other thing which I have worked really hard on is the events calendar. The events calendar is giving you really events all around the world. And it's very, very popular. A lot of people come there. It's a click. It has the dates, the location, and then the link over to the website of the organizers, because I feel like, people, if they travel or they have a passion for it, why not educate them how to find an event? Because that's one of the things that I always look at. I had to look for the information, so make it easier on someone. And then another element is the industry news, where I pick very important articles that I feel like important to me. So, not being an expert and not doing this for a living, how can I help people to find that and just click on what's in January to March of this year, or what was in October to December, and they can find the information quickly and learn about the latest news that I find interesting.
Dirk, you seem pretty switched on. That's almost exactly Marty's sentiments about whiskey. It has to be affordable and attainable.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with spending a lot of money on a really nice bottle, but that bottle is not the bottle you'll be buying every week.
Correct.
Go and spend $200-300 or £200-300 on a bottle. That bottle will last me for years. That's the point of it. When I pull out a 21-year-old whiskey that have cost me X £100, I take that much of it and I sit over it for 3/4 of an hour. For half an hour, I'll take the time over it. That's the point of it. But the mainstay of whiskey is that sort of £20 to £40. People they're used to paying £20-25 for a bottle of whiskey, or $25 or whatever. To actually ask them to then pay double that is a big ask, and lots of people can't afford it. So it's nice that you're bringing that element into it.
And that was one other question, Marty, of the survey was how much, what's your average spend on a whiskey when you go to a bar or restaurant? How much do you spend? And the majority of the people were right in that $10 to $15 spot. That's where almost 80% of people said, that's how much I feel comfortable with, because like you said, you pour it, you are buying something that you wouldn't be able to put on your own shelf. You're sitting there and you're drinking it and you're enjoying it because you're not in a rush, and you are understanding every minute that you have it sitting there, that the air gets in, that it connects, it will start breathing, and sometimes you put a little drop of water or 2 or 3 in it, and it starts breathing and it starts developing its history.
Yeah. Now, Dirk, this is always a question that I always find a bit hard to answer, but it's always one that people want to ask. What's your favorite whiskey? What's your daily drink? What do you pick off the shelf of an evening when you just think, I fancy a wee drink, and you don't even have to think about it, you just reach it down? What
I would go, I'm a average guy. I would go with the Glenmorangie, to be honest with you. That's my to go. I started the journey with the Glenfiddich 18-year-old. And it was given to me. It's a funny story. It was given to me by a client from Hong Kong who visited with me in the States, and he gave me that bottle. And at that time, that was years ago, I had no earthly idea what was in front of me. I just thought, oh, you know what, it's nice to have, you know.
Yeah.
Little did I know, and I've educated myself ever since then. But you know, I'm really on all across. The last one that I had was a Glen Grant 12-year that I had purchased. That is sitting there now. Or I go really all across the wind. You know, Tumman or Glenfiddich. I mean, it's really all around that. I have a very few bottles that are collector items, if you want to call it that, like you know, you have one little zip on a special day or something like that.
Yeah. Now, my real first proper classy whiskey that I actually started to appreciate was a Balvenie, and I just thought, there's something about this. There's something. This is better than an ordinary drink, and it just sort of led to all everything else. But do you like sweet palate, PE? You know, as what would you prefer?
I would. I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not a peated guy. That's
neither am I, Dirk. Neither am I.
Still a learning curve for me, you know, and I've experimented a little bit with the English, for example. They have a very good, you know, the English is a very good, has a lot of peat in it. That's a very good one that I've learned to appreciate to a certain extent, but I'm not a heavy peat guy. I'm more I'm more probably on space side is probably where I would say. I've started to go into the highland a little bit on the lowland, just to understand the differences in the different whiskeys. But it's something that I'm really the to-go guy. I just see a bottle sometimes in the shelf at the bottle shop, and I buy it because I think it's a interesting box. I'm a box guy. I love to have boxes. I'm not buying a bottle without a box or can. You know, that's simply me.
Do you find it easy to find Scotch in the liquor store on the shelf in the States? Because Marty says it's not as prevalent as he thought it would be.
You know, it depends. There's a bottle shop just up the street where I go when I want some specifics and specials. Because Jay has, you know, he has pretty much everything you can think of that is out there, and all sorts of price ranges as well, which makes it very interesting. And he's a to-go-to guy when you want to learn more about new Scotch or old Scotch and things that are a little bit more rare. The problem really is that a lot of this, as you know, Marty, the three-tier system in the States, in the state of Georgia, is a problem for getting some different ones. And right now there is a problem with finding the little bit more of a, you know, odd one that is not necessarily the Glenfiddich. Even then, you know, there's limitations right now on the shelves simply because of the stuff getting into the country.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have this idea that America is one country when essentially it's 50 different countries, and even within each state there's different regions and different laws and stuff, and to try and negotiate all of that's just mind-blowingly difficult.
You know, it's an interesting topic because you know, there's different states, like you said. Kentucky, of course, is pretty heavy with the bourbon, you know, and then you have Tennessee, which is known for Jack Daniels, and a couple of other very, very good upcoming distilleries. And there's a lot of good stuff on the bourbon American whiskey side that is happening out there. You know, I was supposed to do a little tour this month, and then the weather came and stopped me from doing this. So hopefully at the end of the month, I'll have a chance to do it again. I just like to explore and find out, you know, go to the different shops and find out what are people buying when they come to you? What are they asking you for? Because then I can turn this into one of my blog posts and talk about it, and you know, sound important.
You sound very knowledgeable. You sound like you have a very inquisitive mind, and that to me is really important when you're talking about whiskey, because buying the drink itself is one thing, but once you start looking into the people behind it and the location and what it is they're doing, and mash bills and fermentation times and all this kind of stuff, it becomes much. I
mean, it literally starts with, you know, having the distillery, the water that comes to you. You know, I mean, that's why we call it the water of life. because it comes from the water that comes down that hill and sometimes flows through the distillery grounds right there, or it's even the distillery sits on top of it, things like that. And what I think is very important is that we as the people who have access to it are educating others about what and why we feel strongly about it. And that's one one thing that I think is critical also, is that you try to give back to the community where you're from and where you're at. I think personally that we have a lot of things to educate people about. The pubs is one of my passionate things. I don't know if you saw that, but on the website, I have the history of pub. I started that website not too long ago, where I really want to educate and support the public, the publicans, out there, and say, okay, this pub has been in place since 1749, and if we don't support you and if we don't talk about you, then you're going away, and that would be a shame, because some of those small towns, as you guys know that better than I do, that's the central focus point of people getting together and talk about the city and what goes on and things like this. And if the pubs disappear, then it's a sad thing, because families disappear with their livelihoods. And that's why I started History of Pubs, because I wanted to draw attention towards this industry, the hospitality industry, and make sure that people are aware of it. And I highly encourage everybody to take a look at it. And if you have a pub, be there and list your pub. It's out there.
You're actively asking people to put their pub onto your page.
Yes.
So the the purpose is for people to come and actually visit the pubs.
Absolutely correct. Because I know that at one point in time, we will go back to where we can travel without any limitations, and we will be able to travel again to Scotland and England. Yeah, absolutely. And travel the world again. And I would love to have somebody who says, what, I'm going to Hastings, England. I want to know what pub to go to. And there's a picture of the pub, there's the address. And then if they have, of course, a website, there's a link directly. You click on the picture and you link over to the pub. And, I've been very privileged and very happy that I have traveled the world. And I want to share that, because I feel like that's an imminent situation for all of us.
There is nothing like a good old pub. There's just nothing like it. I mean, here in the States, they're few and far between. They don't really do the same. They don't serve the same function as they do back in the UK and Ireland.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Are you planning to visit with fans of the Scotch World website page? Are you planning to visit and tour stills in Scotland, Dirk? Are you?
That's the plan for the summer. Our daughter is hopefully, she has applied for a study abroad program for a university here in the States, and it's in Scotland. So if it all works out, she's going.
That's handy. Here, there's method in the madness in that one.
Have you looked at Edinburgh University, love? Here, look at Edinburgh or Glasgow.
Of course, and I have met so many wonderful people over the 2 years that I definitely will make a big tour. I want to go to Edinburgh, and I have to make sure that my wife is getting the history side of it and does a little shopping, because I cannot just return to the States with 12 bottles or something like that. I need to make sure that it's distributed correctly.
You need to bring her, because your allowance is double then if you have her with you.
Well, I can tell you that if I go without her, I'm in big trouble. So yes, it's us planning this to happen sometime this summer. And we want to go to, various distilleries and to some of the bed and breakfast areas. We want to experience the country as much as we can, and, connect with people. And that's one other thing is my passion is also photography. And I'm very proud of making pictures that are on the website, on the Scotch World, are all my pictures. They're all taken by me. And so I can already tell you that when I'm going to Scotland and touring, there will be a lot of pictures on the website.
Good. Now you have quite a few pubs listed here already, and
yes,
I mean you have the World's End up in the Royal Mile, and then you have the Last Drop down in the Grassmarket in Edinburgh. So you've been to Edinburgh a few times then, have you? You've been to Edinburgh before?
I have been very, very fortunate that I had actually been there a couple of times. Yes, that's very true. And, for me, it is always something that I want to, want to do. Actually, one of my favorite ones is the Tom Grip at Piccadilly in London. That's one of the ones that I've really enjoyed, simply because of the story that he was a boxer and, one of the final ones without gloves and fighting the old times. And he decided to take that on and build this as his retirement. And that was one of the, these are the stories I love and I love to share. But yes, you're correct. There's a lot of those pups, and I would love to see this, being 50, 60, 70 of them listed to really educate people and to make them aware of the wonderful things that they can experience in the pub. Not only the drinking, but also the history. That's on the first page. If you land, you see the, dates all the way back to 500, I think 49, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm listing that a little bit. So there's a lot of the stories about this, and that's 560 actually. So these are the things that I love to share with people when they go to my website and go to other pages that are affiliated with mine.
So one of the things, are you trying to encourage the bars to stock maybe a decent whiskey range? I can see this going this way.
You never know. I mean, it's interesting. We have a very favorite Mexican restaurant up in the North Georgia mountains where we go on the weekends. And I always sit at the bar and eat my meal with my wife, and we talk. And of course, we share. And the gentleman asked me about, can you give me a list of Scotch, because he would like to do something. So the next weekend, I came with a list of Scotch with the prices and gave him all the different recommendations. And then he said, well, how can I do this? So, that's part of the fun. You want to educate everywhere. I love to educate.
It's a good job. It's a good job he was talking to you and not someone else who was telling him £200 bottles. You give him a reasonable things that you could actually afford to buy.
I actually, the lowest was actually under $20, and the highest was the Glenfiddich 18.
Even that's not that expensive. It's
No,
very
not,
reasonable.
no.
If you try and buy an Irish 18-year-old, might be a difference to a kettle of fish.
No, I need to do that next.
Well, listen,
a lot of the Irish stuff has got extremely expensive. It's just supply and demand. There's not enough of it.
I hope if you make it this far over the summer, you get a chance to get over to Ireland. Dirk Ebner from the Scotchworld.com. Thanks a lot for joining us this time on Irish Whiskey Review. Ausgezeichnet. Dankeschön. Tschüss.
Gerne schön. Tschüss und alles Gute. Thanks so much for everybody. Have a good one. Take care.
Thanks, Dirk. Take care, my friend.
Bye-bye.
Fantastic, actually, Marty. Fantastic.
Yeah, he was a really nice guy who, a hobby he's decided to take further and decided to do the Scotch World. Honestly, go on to his pub page is really, really good too. And the fact that he's highlighting, whenever I was listening to that again, whenever we're talking to him, there's a lyric from a Pogue song popped up in my head. The cardboard's going up and they're pulling down the pubs. It kind of, there's loads of pubs closed over COVID, and it's
bad.
Absolute crying shame because
what did you say about the number of pubs in Dublin that have closed and never reopened?
I can't remember. What many it is, but there's loads of them, and I mean, there's two pubs in the village here, and they both. Well, you've seen the Guinness that they serve. I mean, it's just awesome. And they've been there for a very, very, very long time. And
indeed,
you go down in, people kind of know what you're talking about. They know who you are. They'll ask you stuff, and you have a couple of drinks. You want to celebrate something, you go there. So yeah, his pub bit's very good. He's one Irish whiskey listed. One Temple Bar. Whiskey. So we need to change this. He's got the Scotch World. That's where he started. But we need to get more Irish down to him.
Irish on it. Right. Great show tonight as usual. I think.
By the way, guys, I'm just finishing off a wee Titanic here. Very pleasant wee drink. No. You would like this. This would work quite good in the coffee.
You give me one. I've necked it already.
I know.
I've necked it already.
Yeah,
I'm trying to take it easy. I'm trying to stay off the booze for Lent.
Paddy's Day's always the one you can get away with. You say, no, Lent doesn't apply in St. Patrick's Day.
No, doesn't apply to us either. Anyway, so let me see. Yes, Tony Sillett said, "Watch out! There's a Humphrey about advert for Milk Utigate. I think it was in England in the 1970s. It was good, but we didn't have that here in the UTV ITV franchise. So there you go. And we didn't have the one with the dancing bear for our White's Lemonade either." Which is quite funny because when you asked for a White's in England, people know, but they know because of our White's, not because it's white lemonade. But there you
go. You've lost me totally. I'm not having a clue what you're talking about.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. William, I'm really sorry I missed you. We'll get round to playing out your show at some point. I'd love to go on the tour of Scandinavia with you, just because I like the Scandinavian ladies. Linda Cox has said,
I bet they're enamoured of you. I suppose if you're dishing out free champagne, which you haven't paid for.
Probably do. Yes, that's it. It was great show as always. Thank you very much for watching. Brown lemonade.
Exactly.
Tastes nicer than white lemonade. It does.
People in Northern Ireland will know what I'm talking about, because I say it this now because I was wanting to show this before I go. Okay, this is what we eat over here: cheese and onion, chocolate. Right?
It's lovely.
For anyone who doesn't know, Tito is a brand of crisps or chips if you're in the States, and what they've decided to do is release it in chocolate. Now they've got the ratio totally wrong. Not that I think cheese and onion and chocolate particularly goes together, but there's not enough cheese and onion in it to make that big a difference. They've little chips, little crushed bits.
I think it's lovely. I think it's inspired. I think it's lovely.
And by the way, folks, this is on eBay, and people are selling it for like £5 a bar. It's only £1. They're profiteering off these things.
You can't get it. Sure. One time I sold Guinness Marmite and I bought it at £2.50 a jar, and I was selling it at 25 quid a jar. You trying to ruin it for me?
Listen. By the way, if you're in the Republic, this is the proper colour for Tito. By the way, this is what Tito should be. That bright yellow.
You'll be starting international.
Another way in international.
Oh boy! All right.
No.
Listen,
guys. Before we go, I'd like to thank the sponsors. I'd like to thank Scott's Irish Distillery for sponsoring the show again. I would also say that the tasting packs for the Philippe Schreiberg tasting go on to Design My Night. If you're in England, I think you can still get them in time. In Northern Ireland, you can't. But you still can donate and pop in for if for £15. And
they do come to Northern Ireland, so you could watch the show and then.
Oh no, yeah, you can watch this. You can watch the show from anywhere in the world. You can pay £15, and that goes directly to helping people who are refugees from Ukraine. Okay.
But I must admit, what you got in that tasting pack from Laurie was exceptional, and what you get in Philippe's tasting pack is exceptional as well. For the money.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah. Anyway,
good night. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to comment, like, and share. Helps us help you. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, Pinterest. I'm trying to do TikTok, but it's doing my head in.
Don't be doing TikTok. That's run by the Chinese government.
I know. I give you your email address. Don't worry.
Aye.
What's that there? Tony Sillett said, "Except Putin's Russia." I don't know what that's they're referring to, but there you go. I feel like we've forgotten something this week too, as well. What if
we always forget stuff? We always forget stuff. But sure, I'll keep you next week.
What's coming next week? Do we know?
Oh, I'm working next week, so we're going to go live on location because I'm working, Justin. You see, if you start necking free champagne while I'm working, there'll be very strongly worded letters.
Well, I actually went to this place once, and I was going to go on a drinking session. It was Max Clifford, the PR guru, I was going to see in this place.
Oh, the pervert! The boy was locked up for being a pervert.
Oh well, he's dead now, and I don't believe any of that shit. But anyway, I asked for a full Irish breakfast at 9:30, and you know what they said? What? This is like 20, 25 years. You know what they said?
What?
Chef's away home, no food. And
That's desperate.
I thought that was desperate. I thought that was desperate.
Awful.
You
Yeah,
know?
we're on location next week, folks. I am anyway.
Am I coming? Am I allowed to come?
They might
Am
not
I
let
allowed to
Justin
come?
back in.
Am I allowed to come? Am I
They might
allowed
not
to
let
come?
Justin in if the CCTV footage of him stealing the, the champagne is this broadcast.
Very good. Yeah. Oh, you can't watch our show in Russia? Oh, yeah, you can't watch our show in Russia. Has YouTube been blocked in Russia? Has it? I don't think it has.
No, I think there's lots of stuff being. I think he's talking about the Dram Team and Philippe Schreiberg's tasting. Nah,
actually, Boris said something
right,
about that. Boris did say something about that at the conference today, but I couldn't watch it. I was in. I was on Rathlin Island, as I said, which was lovely. Yeah, it looks lovely, that, Marty. Listen, we're gonna go tonight. Bye bye. Night. We're only supposed to be an hour long, but we've done 80 minutes tonight. But we'll try to keep the Snickers